Okay, so we are on, and you have to introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Maggie.
So let's see, where are you from?
From Highland Park. Born and raised in Highland Park. Um, I lived there for like 20, oh yeah, 27 years. 27 years, and then, yeah, I just recently moved to Redondo Beach.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think this is interesting because everyone has a different experience, everyone that's lived in Highland Park.
Yeah.
What was your experience like? Because I don't know if you noticed or cared about like the massive change that happened in Highland Park, but like,
Yeah.
what do you remember?
Well, I liked it the way it was before. It was very like family orientated and like one thing, a big change that I noticed was that like during the weekends, like I don't when did it start? Like the
Um,
gentrification. It started like what, like 2013?
Yeah, it was like a little earlier. There it was probably around it started mostly around the time when the gold line was built.
Yeah.
2007,
It was probably around 2008. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like yeah, when all that was like going and changing, like one of the big things that I noticed was like during the weekend, um before gentrification, like there was like a lot of like Saturday and Sunday, like the mom and pop shops were like closed and like the streets were pretty much dead. And then like once gentrification hit, it was like busy all the time, and there's just like no parking. And the thing is that you don't see a lot of families.
Different,
Well, it's just like not family orientated anymore, and it's just like you couldn't, like before, like a family of four or more could like go and like get lunch and dinner for a reasonable price, and it's
hmm
just like now it's like forget it, we can't even do that.
yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it just kind of sucks. I think, and it's just like me personally, like being a family of six, like we can't eat in our neighborhood because
hmm
everything's so expensive.
You even get priced out of just like supporting your own neighborhood
Well, yeah,
because
and it's just like yeah, everybody's like support the locals, but it's like no, nobody there is local.
hmm
They recently just like moved there, and they're like coming up, and it's just like that's cool and stuff, but it's just like I cannot afford it there. And like a lot of places, they're cool. Like I've gone to the places and they're nice and stuff, but it's just like I'm on my own. I can't go with my family.
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, and just like all the bars and stuff. I think that it's kind of ridiculous at this point, and like considering like how many schools there are there, and
Right.
you know, it's like what happened?
There's just like there's way too many bars in Highland Park, and
Yoga studios.
I guess
Yeah.
that like that's supposed to be like a trendy thing
Yeah, and
too.
like barber shops. Like there's that one weird barber shop. Did you see it? Have you heard of it? It's
It's like
like
a speakeasy.
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And cuz I don't even think there's a sign out in front.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a cool
Yeah,
thing.
and it's
There's
just
no
like the
sign.
barber
Kind of
shop.
hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also another speakeasy. You remember that liquor store called the coldest
The
beer in
coldest
town?
beer, yeah. And it's just
Um,
like if you knew the little phrase, you can go
yeah,
to the
that's a
back.
speakeasy as well or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, but now it's not.
Oh, I
Now
don't
it's
know.
just like you can just go and have a sandwich, and it's like, well, that's stupid.
Because you know
You defeated
why?
the purpose.
I don't know. I think it was kind of a stupid idea to even have a speakeasy sandwich shop. I don't know.
Yeah.
How's it good for business?
Well, that's why they don't. It's not a speakeasy anymore because nobody was getting it.
Yeah.
So they're like not.
The word wasn't going around that it was a
Yeah.
speakeasy.
So they're like,
What was the
let's
phrase?
just
Like, do
make
you
it a
have any
jelly.
birthday candles or something like
I think
that?
so. That sounds familiar.
Do you have any candles here?
Yeah,
Weird.
it was a weird thing.
Would you say that, like having grown up in Highland Park and now still living there through the gentrification, would you say that
Like, Highland Park got this like rep of like, oh, like there's a bunch of gangs down there,
Because the
which
avenues, right?
right, there was, but it's just like I just think it's like with anything, like if you're involved in it, yeah, you're gonna see that part.
Yeah.
But it's just like I grew up there. I never had any issues with like gang members or anything, or like I'd walk home from Franklin or, from Burbank, and like never once was I like worried that like somebody was following me, or, and it's just like, so I don't think, yeah, it's not of a concern, and it's more now, it's more just like we don't agree with a lot of the stuff that is being like added on, like I remember when they were doing like the bike lanes.
Yeah.
I thought like that was like weird. We had two lanes and then they cut one down so that they can put the bike
lanes.
trails, or yeah, the bike lanes. And then it's just like there's not even any bikes that like go by. It's very few that go by.
Yeah. So like, so kind of going back to like his question a little bit, you're mentioning bike lanes, and that's probably, it was probably put there because I don't know, people assume, I don't know, white people like to bike. So like, did you ever feel, or do you at some point, have you ever felt out of place in Highland Park because of all the changes that they're doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you feel out of place, and just like that, like you can't go eat, like I don't know, it's just like I don't know, it's just like weird, like how people like tried, like they see you of like a person of color kind of, and like they try to like make talk, and it's just like, dude, like it's fine, like
Like they feel guilty for like
kind
invading
of
your
like,
space.
yeah, and honestly, like we were literally talking about this today. I hate, or I
Tell us about what you hate.
well, it's a strong word, but I just don't like how they like moved into like these classic like El Arco Iris, and how they
Ooh.
have the sign, but now it's the barcade.
God
But it's
damn.
they're
owl.
cool, yeah, an owl.
Yeah.
But it's fine because
Or
they
Frank's.
left the signage there, so it's not like they're really taking anything away.
But in a way they have, right?
Point.
And it's almost like it's like
Not
it's like a
just-
fuck you, yeah,
It
but it's
is a
just like
fuck
no,
you.
like I don't. Yeah, exactly.
It's like their way of, it's like they think from their perspective like that's how they're honoring the history of the architecture and the business.
yeah.
But in a way, it's also disrespectful because it's like as if you were to like, it's just like if you were to conquer a village and then cut the head off of the king and then
Yeah.
hold it outside and
Yeah.
be like, this is who used to be here, but he's dead now.
He's dead. He's dead
Like-
now. But look, we saved him. He's
yeah,
still
like,
here.
he's here though. If you want to pay like respects, like he's still here,
That's
right?
a good analogy.
That's what it feels like when I see it.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in a different hood. I grew up in Boyle Heights, and like they've like tried their best to fight gentrification. And I think they've done a good job. But you still see like every year you still see like how gentrification is still like overwhelming the efforts of like locals to fight back against it.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of it has to do, primarily because of just like not only like the geography of it, but like just it's a pretty big spot to try to gentrify. And like Highland Park is so like you said, like it seems like you felt like a larger sense of community before.
Mhm.
And I think because it's such a small community, it was easier for people. I'm not gonna say what kind of people or what they look like, but for people to come in and like suddenly take over, right? Like Alexis and I were talking the other day about how like when we were kids, if you drove down Figueroa, there was no fucking stop signs
Mhm.
or lights,
Yeah.
and now there's
Or
like
the crosswalks. Remember,
Yeah, there wasn't any. Yeah.
Yeah,
they
like-
didn't care about our safety.
yeah.
Well, I just think that there wasn't a lot of people. Like it wasn't congested as it is right now, so it wasn't much of like a priority to like set those.
The way I see that is like that's like a real like problem, right? Because it's like they didn't respect, although the community didn't feel as large before, it was large enough that there should have been like safety measures in place to protect the community and culture that is there. So like why didn't they feel respect enough towards the life that was there to have a bike lane or to have the stop signs or the lights, to protect the actual community, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, once people moved in who were like in graphic design and wanted to do yoga studios and like open bars, they're like, let's actually protect the community.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess it's also like the like involvement, you know.
Well, okay, so I've been to a few they're like Highland Park city or council meetings,
Mhm.
and it's crazy because some of them, not a lot of them, some of them don't actually even live in Highland Park.
Are they
Mhm.
even from Highland Park?
I don't know if they're from Highland Park, but some of them. I remember this one lady specifically. She was living in New York.
What?
Yeah, and she just happened to come down for the meeting. And some of these people have a large say in what kind of changes happen in Highland Park. So it's
Yeah.
kind of annoying that it's like, and this is something to be also accountable for, is like the people that were living in Highland Park, which was predominantly Latino people,
Mhm.
weren't getting themselves involved in like the politics and policies that take place in
Yeah.
the community.
Yeah.
And I get it. There's like so many factors into why
Yeah.
a lot of Latinos, they have to hustle or work and they don't have time to do that shit.
Well, that and then, honestly, like all I'm thinking right now is just like the language barrier too.
That too.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
First generation people.
And it's just like there's so many factors and complexities as to why like we're not in these meetings.
Yeah.
But I just found that really annoying because like those aren't those are the people that were living there and still more or less do still live there.
Yeah.
But they don't like have much of a say in
Of
like
a
what's
say, yeah.
happening in the town.
Mhm.
This is also something we were talking about too, is like I share my opinion and my experience about like living in Highland Park and being from Highland Park.
Mhm.
And I think like just because I share that, like, I think it's important to hear other people's experiences too.
Yeah.
We were talking about how like if you look at like the black community, you look at the Jewish community. I mean, I don't know enough, even though I did kind of grow up with like the Asian community, like in the 66 area in my teenage years. I don't personally know what that community is like, but we were saying like how if you observe the black community and you observe like the Jewish community, like two like historically oppressed cultures, that they're like unified, right? Like they look out for each other. But we were saying how as Latinos, like it's really difficult to unify us on any front because like hate and like shit talking is such like a big part of our culture. Like even within families,
Yeah.
like your own parents will like talk shit to you and about you
Mhm.
and your siblings, and so it's like we were saying how it's difficult, right? Like you grow up Latino and you're like you grow up with this like ability to shit talk and hate on anything and anybody, like whether it's for entertainment purposes or just like out of habit.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult for us to unify and also to like be part of that like distribution of power, and like we can't just be like all looking out for each other and like uplifting each other.
Mhm.
Like what's your experience with that? Like do you feel the hate? Are you, or first of all, are you like are you a hater?
Are you a hater?
Are you like a hater and shit?
Haters. I don't know. I mean, I think I could be at times, like, but I would like need to know like the specific topic, and like I would also like I wouldn't just hate just to hate.
Yeah.
Like I would need to like have like information and like be like, okay, like yeah, like that's not cool.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Have you ever experienced hate in your family? Like haters? You're like, I don't know why they can't just be happy.
yeah, sometimes yeah, and sometimes I'm just like, yeah, it's just like that. Like, why does it bother you?
Yeah.
You
Or like,
know?
have you ever heard George Lopez's jokes like in the, what was it, like early 2000s? Where
Oh,
he
yeah.
was talking about how like
You
you
can't do good for yourself.
yeah, because they like, let's say for example, like you graduate high school and then like your tia's like, well, you think you're better than everyone or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't think it's to like that extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like none of my family members have ever done bad like that.
Yeah.
Or have any hate, expressed hate like that.
You're lucky.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. Or what about like friends or like you've never experienced people just being like haters.
They probably did it behind my
Or
back.
maybe you just didn't care.
Yeah, that too.
Maybe you just like didn't think about
I
it.
think we've established that you're not a hater.
I know.
Because, like, I think we were expecting, especially because I was saying, like, because, like, our first instinct is, like, even if it's not even, like, genuine hate, but, like, our first instinct is to just shit talk. Like, we'll see something
Yeah.
and we'll just talk shit and make jokes about it. Like, our first, like we have so much fun together just, like, observing people and things and just, like, talking shit or, like, making fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, so, like, when we're saying hating, we don't mean, like, literally, like, you actually are, like, placing, like, an emotional hate on it.
Yeah.
It's more so just, like, your first instinct, instead of to support something or instead of just being, like, all about it, is to just be, like, what the fuck? Like, they think this or they're like that or, like, damn, they look stupid or, like, you know, like.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't,
You're just
like,
not a
me
hater.
personally, like, I don't. Yeah, I'm like trying
I
to
think you're
think
just a
of,
good
like,
person.
Mm,
We're not.
no, no, because like I will, but like if like probably like the only thing I can think about is like if I'm like driving in traffic
Yeah.
and there's some
that's-
just like
that's normal.
there's
No,
some like
alright. Change
some
the topic.
dick, like that's driving all crazy. I'll be like, oh, watch out, this guy. But
She like goes deeper. She's like, and then I just throw pain at them.
and then I follow them home and put sugar in the gas tank,
Like,
and
then I
it's
get
all
racist. And then I say,
no, no.
So you're just not a hater.
I guess not.
I think if you were, you would like be like, oh yeah, like your response would be like full of hate.
just being a hater.
I think it's good that you're not a hater because that means you haven't been like corrupt by the very thing that we're talking about, like this culture of hate.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, have you come across people that are like that?
Yeah, I've come across people that are like that.
Us.
No. I've come across people like so-called
haters.
friends, yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, just like, shut up. Like, or like, like if I see that it's like funny and like silly, like, yeah, I'll be like, I'll play around with them too, but
Yeah.
once, because then it like starts off as silly
Yeah.
sometimes,
that's true.
and then it like gets really serious, and you're just like,
And they
oh
become,
wow,
like,
like you're
too
being
much of
really
a
mean,
hater,
yeah.
Yeah. For me, like personally, I like haters because they're funny.
Yeah.
But then after a while, then it's like, then if I get to know this person like a little more, and then I'm like, okay, like you're just too much of a
Yeah.
hater. I was kidding, but
I
like
was just playing around.
you're making me laugh. But
Yeah,
like,
but
now
now-
you're just going too far.
Now I'm kind of scared.
Then it goes from like a joke to being like legit
Well, yeah, but and then because I also think like,
toxic.
yeah,
Did you ever have any nicknames growing up that were like that you didn't like?
I was chubby growing up, so my family
Well, yeah.
call me like they would call me gordo or they'd call me like different
yeah.
names and shit.
My dad would call me gorda, or like,
Did
yeah.
Did it bother you?
Well, back then, no. No,
So-
because I was just like, whatever, like
When you look
it's-
back, does it bother you? Or?
Well, yeah, looking back on it, yeah, and it's just like even now, like when he calls, if he calls me that,
Yeah.
it's just like I don't want to be called that.
Yeah,
like,
like
that's not.
I'm
that's not
almost
cool.
30. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
what the fuck?
This is just me.
It's like, do you want me to call you that? Because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like it.
Parents don't like that.
That's true. Yeah, because that's like, okay, so that's like a common thing in Mexican families.
Uh-huh.
To like nickname and be sincere about it, but it's like then you grow up and you're like, I actually
You're
don't like
wait,
that
was kind of
nickname.
mean. Like,
So that's like a form of like hater, you know, in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
It's like they don't mean it, but they are kind of like
yeah.
talking,
Well, yeah,
like,
because it's
shit
like,
about you.
right? Yeah.
Especially things like gordo and gorda, because then like if you have a friend or someone who's like not Latino and they're like, what does that mean? You're like, it
Yeah.
means fat ass. It's like
He's calling me a fatty.
my
right
dad calls me
now.
fat ass.
Yeah.
Or they call me, like there's so many names that are just like fucked up in Spanish that we
Yeah.
call each
Yeah.
other. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to say some stuff. But anyways,
But yeah, that's I think that's like the most common one too. Is like Mexican families. There's
Yeah.
always a gordo or
There's a
gorda,
gordo, gorda.
or even like a flaco or flaca.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's true.
and it's just like even that is like that could be like no.
And then you see it too, like it is interesting though how it's part of our culture. Like, okay, like we were talking about, like, like the hood ass fools in Highland Park, and how, like, even the way they give names to each other, like there's always a nickname for someone in, like, the gangs.
Yeah.
And there's like Belon,
Yeah.
like there's like always names based on like physical attributes for people. Like, it's almost like our culture is like focused on like visual.
Yeah.
Like, we don't go. It's almost like very superficial, right? Because like,
Yeah.
it doesn't go beyond just like skin deep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it could be, yeah. Looking back on it, I think, yeah, once you like realize, like, wait, that's not cool, or when you get older, and that's the thing.
Yeah. You're like, I don't really feel too good about myself after
I didn't
hanging out with my
wanna be called that.
family.
Yeah, like I don't, like if you're out in public, like I don't want to be called that, like
Yeah. It's like everyone just you be called fat, like by your
yeah, it's
parents.
just like what the hell?
Like, okay, yeah, this is not ideal. I don't want.
Yeah.
This doesn't make me feel good about myself.
No. Yeah.
It's always when you're eating like a plate of like a lot of food too. Like,
Gordo, come here, come bring me that, and you're like, fuck.
Gordo and gorda is funny, but so is torta.
Oh my god, I've never.
You ever heard someone call it torta?
No.
Just like making fun of, but not like a nickname.
How do you
no,
make
I
fun
just
of
mean,
somebody?
Like, being called, so like that's what I'm saying, like the name calling,
Yeah. Okay. So let's move a little forward. You moved, and you're in your 20s, later
Yeah.
20s. What's that experience like? And would you recommend?
Would you recommend? 10 out
Well,
of
there
10
are
would
some-
not recommend.
There's some people that are like stuck right now in the same age as you that are like, should I move out? Should I not? I don't have to pay rent at my parents. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think? What's your take on it?
Well, I think it's just every experience is different, but like mine, like I was able to, live with my parents and like save up and stuff, but then like, honestly, like moving out, it wasn't really planned, but it was just kind of like, it was in my head, and I was like looking silly, but I was like looking for houses, like, oh, like maybe something could work out. I don't know.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
then
silly.
and then once I seen it, and I was just like, wow, like this is, I'm not gonna be able to move here. The only thing I could do is rent out a house or like rent out an apartment.
Right.
And then like just like that whole experience, it was really difficult for me because it was a lot of like growing up, you know, and being responsible for stuff, and then just like family wise, it was just like, it was also a lot of letting go. My mom was not ready for me to do that, and because like I said, it wasn't planned. I never really like talked to her about like, oh, I'm looking for a place and I want to move out.
Like the idea lived in your head as like you already knew it was an inevitable possibility.
Yeah.
But they weren't aware that this is something you were like mulling over.
Yeah, they weren't in my head, and like I never talked about it because it was still kind of like up in the air, I was like, well, I don't know if I could pay rent every month, and I don't know if I could do it if I
Your
could make
inner
it,
hater came out.
basically.
You were actually hating on yourself in that moment.
Yeah. It's like self-doubt,
it's like the hate, in our culture is like not only towards each other, but it's towards ourselves, like when you, like that's what keeps us from wanting to like be ambitious or to make those moves and take those risks for ourselves, is like that part of us that's like, I'm not capable of this, I'm not worthy of it, right?
Right. Okay, so that is a good point what you just said. Because that's something we didn't mention when we were going off and talking about haters.
I just thought of it when she's saying it. I'm like thinking,
And
like,
I
a
actually,
different side of it.
I was distracted with Kobe to actually point that out because you guys were talking about the name calling and stuff like that, and it does affect your self-esteem, and that's like the most important thing of like why I even wanted to bring it up was because it does affect your self-esteem, and then you kind of have like these less, like you feel less of yourself a little bit in a way. And it's not that like our families wanted to do that. It wasn't like an intentional thing.
Yeah.
But that is a toxic thing that we tend to do without realizing.
Yeah.
And without realizing how much it affects you as an adult.
Yeah, in the long run.
Yeah.
Like it could have kept you from making this like important transition in your life to move out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you feel now? How long has it been since you moved out?
It's gonna be about 2 weeks.
Okay. And so going back to like the question of me saying like, or me asking you what your experience was like, would you recommend would you recommend that people move out of their parents' house?
In my situation, it's like, it wasn't really like a need, it was more of a want.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, I think if you just like talk with your parents, like let them know. Because I mean, my mom even told me, she's like, well, this is your house. Like, if it doesn't work out, like, you can still come here. But but yeah, I mean, I would, if you're like set, your mind is set, your heart is set, like just do it. Like I always say like there's only one way to find out, and it's just to do it.
Right.
Like you can't live your life based off on other people's experiences. You could like take things from it, but it's just like your experience is gonna be your own.
Right.
So if it's like a crazy like situation and like you need to get out, just do it.
Yeah. Well, like for me, like I didn't need to get out, but like mentally and emotionally, I felt like I did.
Yeah, I think I could agree with that, and I was kind of like on that same.
I felt, yeah.
I was like, I was coming home from work, driving fucking an hour and a half, and then like once I get home, had to do my laundry and like cook. Sometimes like my family would want to go eat, but it's already like 8-9 o'clock, and I'm like, I don't want to eat right now. It's late, like. And I'm tired. Yeah. And so a lot of the times I would just come home, eat, wash my clothes, whatever, and then knock out. And like my mom would be like, oh, like you don't want to hang out with us and this, and I'm like,
the guilt.
I'm tired. Yeah. Like it's not that. That's not what it is. It's just like I am so tired, and like I don't think she understood that. Yeah.
I can kind of say the same about like my mom too. I think she had the best intentions, but she would get upset with me about that too. And it's like, you're an adult at this point. You're already like, you're mid to late 20s. Yeah. And you're just like, I'm basically living my own life as an adult right now. I just live here, and I can't like abide to your schedule of like how you want to run the household because I'm already old and I already fucking ate. Yeah. And my mom would always guilt me, and she'd be like, I made you this and that. And
yeah, and it's just like, well,
it's sorry. Like, I already ate. Like, sorry.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. And there's a lot of also like no communication too, like, I mean, like there was times where I would eat before I got home, and my mom would be like, oh, like I made this. And I'm like, well, you should have texted me. Yeah, or you could have given me a call.
That was the same thing with my mom.
And or like sometimes I'd be like, okay, fine. Like I would feel bad, so then I wouldn't eat, and then I get home and then there's no food.
There's nothing.
And I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So it was kind of just that ping ponging going back and forth, and it's just like I'm not gonna be able to do this the next year.
Yeah, like mentally, I felt like I just had to do it for my own peace of mind. And then because towards like the end of when I was still living at my parents', I kept butting heads with my mom a lot more, which probably also pushed me a little, like it was probably one of the factors too to make me just like do the jump. Yeah. But But I already had known that I was going to like leave and
Yeah.
that it was just going to be the best move for me. And
Yeah.
honestly, it feels great.
Yeah, it does. Well, yeah, because it's just like
I
you're
love
on
my
your own
parents,
schedule.
but like,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, same here, you know, and it's just like, yeah, like I love my parents and I'm grateful and for everything that they have done, and you know, and it's just like it's just
live your life.
another part. Yeah, like you got to do it.
I was
Can't be
living with my
there.
dad, and I also felt like similar to what you're saying in a way, but not in the same sense because there was not like a whole family there, it was just him and I. And for a
Mhm.
while, it was like my cousin also living with us, so I grew up with. So he was kind of like my older brother, like growing up. So it was a little bit like a family dynamic, but I would feel guilty too, like coming home and like I had plans or something, and he was expecting me to eat dinner with him or whatever, and then
Yeah.
be like, I can't eat with you, or I can't do this, or I'm like tired, or I got all this stuff, and you start realizing like your family and your parents have a difficult time observing you outside of their experience with you as a child,
Mhm.
and so they expect you and feel this like entitlement to your time and to your like energy, and so when you're like not able to give that to them, you're suddenly like, not only are you feeling guilt, but you're also feeling like their like frustrations with like,
Yeah.
Right.
you're not here, you don't want to be part of the family, this and
Yeah.
that.
But it's hard because it's just like, yeah, you know, it's like they don't see you as like growing up.
Yeah.
I feel they still see you as that like little kid in their eyes, you know. So it's
Yeah.
like, what happened? Like what changed? And it's just like everything happened and everything changed.
Life's
Like
happened,
I'm
yeah.
growing up. I want different things now. You know, I can't I'm like, yeah, you're not some teenager, you know, like I'm not going to school, you're not dropping me off. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to work now, like have, you know, different group of friends, like just things change and, you know.
I think being an adult living with your family is very straining on your relationship. Like my personal experience, I was basically a roommate with my dad. I was paying rent and paying
Mhm.
bills there. And I felt like this weird like dynamic, like, okay, I'm paying like the bills here with you and my own stuff, and you're not supporting me in any way.
Yeah.
So why do I have to like suddenly like abide by your schedule or like be expected to make
Yeah.
anything happen?
Yeah.
And you start realizing like, okay, like I I my relationship is suffering because I am a roommate with this family member, but also still they're expecting me to be treated and to treat them as if I was dependent on them.
Right.
And you're like, that's not like
It doesn't work
healthy.
that way.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work, yeah. And then you see like I've noticed like since we've both moved out together,
Mhm.
like I definitely appreciate my parents more and
Yeah.
my family more because I see like, okay, now like we're not antagonized by like the proximity of being around each other all the time or like
Mhm.
being in the same house or like having to like share like cleaning duties and shit like that. So I feel like, okay, I actually like appreciate my dad more. I appreciate my mom more. Like I haven't lived with my mom in years. I haven't lived with my mom probably like 6 or 7 years now. But like it makes me appreciate my dad more. Like, do you feel that you are? I mean, it's only been recent, right? Since you
Yeah.
moved out. But like, do you feel like a sense of relief in a way, like that you can focus more not only like on your own personal like your own personal growth now that you have your own space, but that you can do that while also like allowing your relationship with your family to be something that's more healthy and more like something that you have control over.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just it took a minute,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, it's like yeah, I appreciate my mom and dad more and um I think it's like the other way around too because
Oh
they're
yeah.
always like, you know, like when are you gonna come over?
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just like
The FOMO.
yeah.
Um, and also it's nice because, well, from my experience, whenever
Mhm.
I'm at my parents' house and like I don't know, they start arguing or some shit happens at the house, I'm like, I'm out.
All right, thanks.
just-
Yeah. Bye.
Peace. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you do have a sense of control of like your. It's like
it's your own space,
yeah,
and it's just
your
like
own well-being.
yeah,
too.
and it's just like I don't have to be here, and I don't have to put up with this.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's just like honestly, like that was also like something that I talked about like when moving out, that it was like I want my place to be kind of like a place where everybody goes to, you know, and it's just like, oh, you know, like well, I have, you know, my 3 siblings, and it's just like for whatever reason they're like I don't want to be here. It's just like cool,
like a
come
safe
over.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, or
That's
friends or like whatever, you know, it's just like come on over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like having that and being able to just yeah, like you said, like part of your well-being, just like
Chill.
I don't want to yeah, I want it completely quiet. I can do that if I want to blast music, if I
True.
you know, like whatever I want to do, like that's part of it, you know.
Yeah. And I think you made a good choice for yourself, and that's what matters, right? Because like for me, I felt like I made a good choice for myself.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, you can't do everything that your family wants you to do. It doesn't mean you don't love them.
No.
It just means you need to like put yourself first sometimes, you know?
Well, yeah, and it's like yeah, and we have to remember that like it's our life, you know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish, and
Yeah.
it's they already have their own life. They did what they wanted to do, and it's just like now it's my turn.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the thing I want to also include in this like conversation about just like our culture, and I'm gonna bring it up a lot, like in probably every episode, but like it's just like women in Mexican culture are like they tend to be more like too giving and too like I don't know what the right word I want to use, but like they put everyone first before themselves.
I feel
Yeah.
like they're expected to be taken from, right?
Yeah, and they don't think to like put themselves first, and if they even think to be selfish a little bit, like they feel guilty about it.
it's almost like it's like a mommy syndrome, you know, like we're like girls in Hispanic households are raised to be like that little caretaker mom, and because what do moms do? Moms are very, you know, they give everything to everybody else, and there's nothing left for themselves, and like we're kind of raised that way,
right?
And it's just like, you know, it's not right sometimes, you know?
It isn't.
It's like, why do I have to, you know? And it's just like if they have a son, it's like sons, you know, get to do whatever they want.
They're the kings
and go
of the
out
house,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's just like I know probably a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but for the most part, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think if you
I don't think people would disagree with that.
Yeah, I think most like traditional Mexican and Latino households that is the case. Like the boys are raised and taught that they can rely on the women in the house no matter what.
It's the mijo syndrome.
Yeah, mijo syndrome, yeah.
Yeah.
Like my immediate family, I was not raised that way. I was actually raised differently than my parents, but my surrounding family, like my aunts and like my grandparents, they were trying to raise us like that.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad, like my mom definitely didn't want it like that because the way she felt as a kid, you know, like she had to take care of all her sisters and cook dinner, and also like she was like a latchkey kid, you know, so like she was expected to be the mom for all her sisters and everyone and get everyone together, and then like also clean and take care of shit when the adults weren't like responsible.
Yeah.
So like she didn't want me and my sister to be like that. Well, I'm the oldest, right? My little sister's younger. She's actually been the opposite. She's been kind of like baby. That's not important. Point is though, I as a man, I've seen and experienced it too. Like the women are expected to be caretakers and to be also like the last ones to leave the house. And it's super fucked up because then you're like not experiencing the freedom of life that you should be entitled to as an adult when you deserve it, right?
Yeah.
But like, going back to your question when she said like, she asked you, do you recommend it? I think that's, I don't know how I felt about that question, to be honest, because I think everyone should absolutely leave their parents' house, right?
Right, and the only reason it's not like a direct question with like it's like yes or no. It's more just like for her to share her experience, because I know what she's already gonna say. Like you made the best decision for yourself, so I want to hear why she recommends it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot of like a lot of factors go into that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something like and like I said, like if you're already feeling it, like that you want to move out, it's in your head, like and there's just that little bit of doubt of like, oh, well, I don't know, if my parents did, like just like try to put that aside and just like just go for it.
Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are gonna be like kind of random questions.
Okay.
Are you your mom's favorite?
I don't know. Probably not now.
Have you ever been, do you think?
Yeah, when I was the only child.
Okay, what was your MySpace name if you ever had one?
I never had a MySpace.
Oh, damn, we're old.
I'm not that. I wasn't there. It wasn't there at that time.
What's the pettiest thing you've ever done? Or you can think of right now, the top of your head.
Petty?
Yeah.
Okay, so one time at a sleepover, this girl was like being really, I don't know, it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of petty, I don't know, kind of bullying, really. But the thing is that she just kept like picking on me, and like she like turned everybody against me. Like we literally had pizza, like I was eating pizza by myself, and I was like, this bitch, like what the hell? And like I just got so upset, and my friend's sister was just like, what the hell is her problem? Like she's being all rude. I'm like, I don't know, whatever. And she was just like, we should like, when she's sleeping, like let's draw on her face or something. And I was just like, yeah. So what we ended up doing was, we got her lip gloss because she was like applying it every little while. We got her lip gloss and we put pee in it.
Oh,
shit. I was not expecting
That's
that.
crazy. I know, I was like, oh, because it's so cute.
We just put extra lip
We
gloss
just
on
put
her.
lipstick on her face.
That was way crazier than
No.
Okay.
You put pee in it, so it was mixed in with the lip gloss?
Yeah.
So she was putting pissy lip gloss on her lips? She had piss lips?
Yep.
Oh, fuck. You're crazy, Maggie.
Okay, so I actually have a question to go off of that. Why are girls so mean to each other? Not because you were being mean, but like
she started it
because of the other because of the reason why you did that. Why do you think girls are so mean to each other?
I honestly really don't know. Like
Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like I'm just like, why are you being mean? Like I literally don't care. Like there's like girls are always mean to each other. I'm just like, okay, like why?
Yeah, and they're like sick mean. They're like manipulative mean.
They'll put pee in your lip gloss.
Like no, but they'll fuck with you mentally and be like, "What the fuck did I do?"
Yeah.
Like, what's your problem? First
what
of
is
all,
your deal? Yeah.
I don't
know why because I'm not like that.
Yeah.
Like if I don't like somebody, I'm just gonna like keep to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Like you don't give them any energy.
No.
Yeah.
Like for what?
Yeah, me neither.
That's a very like reasonable and objective like way to look at it.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not gonna give you any time or energy.
No, it's like
and I feel like I'm the same way, but I'm always like portrayed or told that I'm bitchy or like I'm being
it's
a
just
bitch
like
because I don't want to like entertain a mean girl.
Yeah, but no, it's you don't participate in the shenanigans. Yeah, it's just like no, it's just like I don't want to. For what?
Yeah, like
for what? Especially if it's like
me.
if it's something like at work or at school, it's like silly to give people that energy.
Yeah, like I'd rather give like a girl that's weird or like she's a little shy or like I'd rather give her like my time of day than to give like a pretty mean girl any attention.
Oh yeah,
like I can't. This shit's annoying. Anyway, so let's ask you some more questions. What's the most cringe, embarrassing thing you've ever done on a date, or just in general?
But if you got a date one, that's a good
oh man, I have too many. I'm always cringe. I'm always like, why'd I do that?
What's the most embarrassing one for you? What's one that keeps you up at night? That's about that.
That's a good.
I got a really crazy one that I'll tell you in private one day.
Yeah.
It involves her.
Just give her time to talk.
Yeah. But I'll tell you my good one if you tell us your good one.
I don't know. Like
you want to
cringiest.
start it off?
Yeah, you go ahead and start it off, and I'll be thinking about mine.
When we were like in our early 20s. I wasn't even dating her. We were just friends.
Yeah.
I got so drunk I tried to kiss her,
Oh no.
and like obviously she rejected it because I was like drunk, and I was like, God damn. But it was like a long term effect. It was like poison. Like it slowly got to her, and she was like, you know what? I actually want to be his girlfriend. Like 10 years later, so like
She was like, remember
maybe
that one time?
yeah. So maybe it worked out. Maybe people should do that.
No.
It was actually really funny because I think we were already dating. And I was like, remember that one time you got really drunk and tried to kiss me? And he was like so embarrassed by it. He was like, I was hoping you didn't even remember that.
It like hit me up for years. So like, have you ever? Let's move past that. Anyways,
Anyways.
do you have anything like that that's just like so embarrassing and cringe? Like if someone were to see it, they would just be like, oh god,
No.
hurts.
Dating, no, because like I never really
Okay, then not
would
dating.
go out, but like even just like in general, I can't really like.
Cringe.
I mean, there was
Big
like
cringe.
one time in middle school, but it wasn't really my fault. It was both my legs fell asleep because I was crisscross applesauce, and they like called me up to like go to the office, and I couldn't get up, and like I kept telling them like I can't get up, and they're like come on, and so I tried to get up, and when I got up, I like just fell back down because both my
actually
legs
fun.
were just noodles.
It's not cringe enough. It doesn't pass the cringe.
Oh,
Okay, so let's see. What's one of the weirdest things you do or have that nobody knows? Okay, I'll start it off. I have a really stinky belly button.
Gross.
I have like that's one of the weird things I have.
Yeah.
Also, when I clip my toenails, I smell them.
Oh,
What the
God,
fuck?
now you're embarrassing me.
I don't know. Well, I have this weird.
She
I
can't
have
beat that.
I have this one hair that grows like every little while on the side of me, and it's just like it's so random. It's just one.
Is it a long one too?
It's long, yeah.
I have one of
He has
those.
a few
I
of
got some of
those.
those. She always points them out.
Not one, he has a few.
I got,
No,
like, a
I just
couple
have
dozen.
one, and it's weird because it's not in the front. It's not in the back. It's literally on like my rib cage.
Oh my god.
It's weird.
That's funny.
It's tenacious. It just keeps growing.
Yeah.
God damn. I want to ask you something more serious. I like now that you're on your own. Like, I found myself for instance, when I moved in with her. For me, it was like a huge accomplishment to finally like be out on my own because like not only in terms of freedom and just like now you can just be accountable for yourself, but I found myself like reevaluating what I wanted in life and like also like having to suddenly think like maybe like what I was expecting for my future is like deeply like misunderstood. Like I actually don't even know what's gonna happen, and now I have to suddenly kind of like
rethink your whole life, your whole future goals.
Yeah, like do you feel like obviously it's promising, right? Because now you're on your own and like you have a good job and like you're able to like be in a position where you can focus on stuff. How do you like feel about like your future now? Like do you feel like nervous? Do you feel like excited? Do you feel like there's more possibilities? Do you feel like what you were expecting for yourself at this age is now like, is it aligned with what you expected, or is it like, how do you feel about it? Like,
no,
moving
it's
forward?
completely different. Like I never thought I'd be where I'm at right now. I honestly thought like when I was younger, like I'd be like out of the house like by 20, you know, and like I thought I was gonna graduate college when I was like 24. I just graduated. When did I graduate? Like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, it's very different, and it's just like I still have kind of like the same goals for my future. Like I do want to like own a home and like you know, just work and like retire well, you know, and like be able to travel but the only thing that has changed is that I know I'm not going to be able to do it here.
Oh,
like
what do you mean by that?
I probably gonna have to move out of state to like buy a house.
Oh, you feel like you've been priced out.
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty fair.
it's not a big deal anyways. It's not a big trip. It's like Because there's a lot of places where it's just as nice, if not even nicer, and not as congested. So.
Okay, yeah, just I mean, we only have a few more minutes, probably like 5. But if you can tell me about like your school experience, because I feel like a lot of people don't hear the stories about people going to school for longer periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone hears like this story of I graduated high school, went to university, and I finished college at the age of like 22.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel that it took you a little bit longer? How did you feel like going through that whole process, and was it difficult?
It was a lot of ups and downs. It was like I honestly thought I was gonna quit for a minute, but in the long run, it's just like, because I don't really like school, and
Yeah.
I for me it was just like taking one class at a time.
Yeah.
And like I would recommend that to
Yeah.
somebody. Like if you really don't like school, just take the minimum 2 classes per semester if you want.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to take you a long time, but also like know that you're working towards getting something, and then like if you have, a decent job, like, you be putting, like manage your time and your education and your money well,
Yeah.
and you can make something of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like just that. It wasn't a bad experience. If I could do it over again, I wouldn't change much. Because I know I wasn't like as stressed if I were to go to a 4-year university, because
Yeah.
I just went to community college and I finished within like 7 years it took me, but I finished.
Yeah.
And now I want to further my education, and you have all that. It's still valid. It's still the same thing. And,
Yeah.
I'm working with people that have went to university, and it's like, we're in the same place.
Yeah, right.
And I've always said that, but if you can go to a 4-year university and like do it and get it over with, kudos to you, and just do it.
Yeah, I'm just speaking in regard to like the people that maybe feel like frustrated or feel a little down because it's taking them a longer time, because it took me a fucking long time to go to school too.
Yeah.
And I know like this idea of like, oh, I need to finish at this age, or I need to finish by this
No.
time. Like it can overwhelm you, and it
Yeah.
can make you feel like you're behind, or like, but it's in reality, it's like nobody's time. It's
No,
your
it's
time.
your own path. Yeah, and that's what we have to like keep like reminding ourselves. Is
Yeah.
that this is my life. It's my journey. I'm going to do it the way I want to, and the way it's going to benefit me.
Yeah.
So yeah, if don't give up, keep going, and it pays off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
And we have like 2 minutes left, 2.5. Let's talk about the diamond on your tooth.
The diamond on my tooth. Yeah. Me and my. What's its what?
What's its meaning?
Oh, its meaning.
And is it just one, or
It's just one.
it's just one? Did
Yeah.
it hurt?
No, it didn't hurt at all. It was just like putting a little bracket on when you get braces. But
Did
yeah.
you have braces? No, right?
I did for a minute. I don't know why, because it didn't do much, but
You did have braces.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
yeah. It was
Okay.
like for a little while though. They were supposed to fix this little
You didn't even
snaggle
have
tooth.
crooked teeth, though.
No, just this one. This little snaggle tooth I have, but it didn't fix it.
It's not
Oh.
a snaggle.
It was just like,
It's
nah.
a snickle tooth.
It's a snickle.
It's unique.
I should have put a diamond on that one,
I
huh?
got some snaggers right here.
My girlfriend wanted
It does
one,
look
so
cool.
it was just like we just decided
Oh,
to get
you
one.
both got
Yeah,
one?
we both got one.
It was like a
I
2
like
for
that.
1.
That's a good reason.
Yeah.
Someone else
We're
got it.
matching. It's on the same tooth and everything.
No, I'm just asking because I see people get the diamonds in their teeth, and
Yeah,
like I'm
it's-
like I just don't know the process of
Yeah,
it. Like,
it's cool.
Do they?
It's-
I thought like
It's
this whole
literally
time.
5 minutes.
This whole time I thought it was like they're drilling a hole in your
Nope.
tooth and putting a whole
I used to think
diamond.
that too. I was, I
Nuh-uh.
was a dumb-
No, done in 5 minutes.
The last people that we interviewed had diamonds in their teeth too.
Oh.
Oh, did
wow.
they?
Marquise had diamonds in her teeth too.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm just like not noticing these
Hop
things.
on it.
I probably
Hop
thought her
on the
tooth
train.
was shiny
Your teeth are like
because
so,
I thought I was
You
like
can choose different
ready?
colors too.
this whole
and
time I
shapes.
was like I thought her tooth was shiny, and
your
then
teeth are ready for the diamonds because they're so like
thin.
they're just no. I was gonna say they like stand out.
They need a little
That's
pizzazz.
true.
Maybe I should get a diamond.
I honestly regret that we didn't get to spend time talking about your job because I think that's probably the most interesting part about you. But we might have
Wow.
no, not like no disrespect. I meant just like the way it would tie into all the other stuff we talked in. talked
Okay.
about you would actually
Well,
really
she
be
can
nice.
come back on another episode.
Yeah, stick
No, she
around
can't
for
come
another
back now.
episode.
It's done.
Because this is like an intake. It's like the first episode.
this is
The
like a
intro,
session.
the intro to Maggie.
We're like
Yeah,
the
so it's
therapists.
like now she's getting comfortable. She knows what it's like. She knows the vibe. So like now we can get into more
Okay.
like conversations.
If you guys like Maggie, comment, like, share, and let us know you want to hear about the dead people.
Okay, Maggie,
she works
say
with.
bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.